Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Rail Lovers Podcast. We are in the finale episode of Spooky Month, and joining me today, alongside me, are a group of the best human beings that I know on the face of the planet, the most eclectic group that I know. First off, Tyrone, welcome back to the Rail Lovers Podcast.
Thank you, sir. Happy to be here with you as always.
And the two newbies to the Rail Lovers Podcast, Jamie Lee from In the Front Row.
Hi.
and then Taco from Something to Talk About. How are you doing today?
I'm fantastic. I am not a good person, but I do know the most about the thing from anybody else he knows, so he's just lowering his standards of good people to find somebody who knows a lot about the thing. So
For sure. And thank you for that, because we are talking about the thing for the finale episode of Real Spooky Month here on the Real Lovers Podcast. But before we get into that, I like to play a little game where I just like to ask my guests what they've been watching over the last few weeks, and a little game called Last Four Watched. So Tyrone, what are you been watching? What are you last four watched?
So right now it's the fall season, so honestly big sports season for me now. But as far as the television movie world goes, I'm watching Gilmore Girls with my fiance. It's Taco. You're sitting there laughing, but let me tell you something.
Dude, I've done it. I've watched it with my wife.
No, let me tell you something. It's awesome when you it's very funny.
That woman, Girls. That was just way out of left field. It's spooky season, so I've been watching some Rory and Lorelai.
Yeah.
Caught me off guard, man.
Emily Gilmore, the grandmother, is just so friggin' funny, dude. Oh, I just love that old sort of New England type vibe, and I'm from Boston, so it just reminds me of all the cliche sort of rich white people I know. But then other than that, I'm watching Suits. On season 2, which is pretty funny. What We Do in the Shadows, for spooky season, where I'm in season 3, I think. That's always a good time. And then the last movie I watched was The Wonderful Story of Henry Sugar, that new Wes Anderson short. And honestly, I have to say, I'm all for us making short films. It's about 30-ish minutes, I want to say, 20 minutes.
I'd watch it.
And it's fantastic. It's phenomenal. It grabs your attention the entire time. And if we could have some really big directors kind of go into that, I think it's just perfect, because especially with these smaller budgets coming after the strikes and things, I think it'll be interesting and fascinating going forward. But that's kind of what I'm watching right now. It's good times, good stuff. It's fall season. So as Taco said, Rory and Lorelai season.
Yeah,
I really want to check out those Wes Anderson shorts, for sure. I think they're I feel like that's probably one of the more well produced shorts that Netflix has done over the past month or so.
Yeah,
it's I just need Netflix again, because I need to I don't know, because hopefully Netflix can pay their actors, so I can subscribe to Netflix again.
Yeah, that would be cool, right?
Yeah, no, that would be awesome. Yeah, and they're based on the short stories by Roald Dahl. So that's pretty cool too, which I didn't realize until they hit the credits. I was like, oh, okay, nice. So yeah. So fantastic, Mr. Fox, I think, and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Right. But Gilmore Girls. Sorry. I can't talk right now.
Double G's.
That's a very interesting watch. For sure. I haven't seen any episodes, but I know you've been trying to get me into that show along with One Piece as well. So.
Yeah. I mean, it's just a very chill show. It's, oh my God, it's very long. Though, my Lord, it's 45. I did this comparison analysis. One Piece, I think it's 2/3 the length of One Piece. No exaggeration. It really is that long. And the dialogue, those scripts are just pages and pages and pages, because they really go on and on. So yeah, those are some of the things I'm watching right now. What about everyone else?
Yeah, Jamie Lee, do you want to go next?
Sure. To piggyback off that, because mine kind of links in, not really, but kind of. So one of the main guys from Gilmore Girls is in the show that I'm watching. Scott Patterson. He was Luke Danes. Anyway, he's in the show that I'm watching, which is called Sullivan's Crossing. So it's kind of picture Dawson's Creek and probably Gilmore Girls. I'm assuming it's really CW Hallmarky. It's a
Mhm.
rom-com, and I like it. It's got the guy from One Tree Hill in it, the hot guy, Chad Michael Murray.
Ah, okay.
Wow.
Not that that's why I'm watching it at all.
Cool.
He doesn't flex his muscles in like this big hunky
Well, no, like,
cabin and,
compete with
chopping up
Homelander.
wood. Yeah.
N-
I'm not getting in trouble again. I'm not getting in trouble today. Homelander's a bad guy. I don't like bad guys. I swear. Anyway, so Sullivan's Crossing's really good. Fear the Walking Dead is in its final season. I'm watching that currently. That comes out today. So, watching Fear the Walking Dead, and then not last night, the night before, I watched The Shining to be in the spooky spirit.
Wow.
And yeah,
Nice.
so I thought that was very good as well. And then obviously The Thing was my other big one that I've watched. That's to do with horror. So yeah.
What did you think of The
That's-
Shining? I've never seen it. I've seen clips and like I was in like a film history class. We were supposed to watch it, and I did not do that assignment. Not
I
gonna lie
wrote
to
a
you.
paper for it in college, 5-page paper.
Wow. What did you
Wow.
think?
I like it. It's not great, but it's good. It's not my favorite.
It's a movie.
Kubrick.
Yeah.
It's like my top 3 Kubrick, but it's got that like I think we just did this, but because Marley just watched it, but it's got that Led Zeppelin thing where it's done so much for film, but it's not my style, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
Get you.
well, yeah, sure, you know, John Bonham's the best bassist of all time, sure, but it's, you know, I don't listen to it every day.
No, yeah, I
but-
get that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but invented the Steadicam and the pop zoom, you know, like
Right.
crazy stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
What did you think about it? The person who was talking about it, Jamie Lee?
Yeah, Jamie Lee.
I thought it was really good, but I thought it would be more horror, like a little bit more scary.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't. Like as Tucker said, I appreciated it for like the visuals and how it was filmed and things like that, rather than the fact that the plot was very scary. Like I actually thought too far into it, like, oh, this guy was like abusive and a really bad husband and a really bad father prior to being like haunted or whatever went on at the hotel. So yeah, I overthought it probably. But anyway, I liked it. I overthink a lot of things, but I like a lot of things.
Nice.
Anyway, let's move on.
Well, that's lovely, Jamie Lee. Glad that you got some spooky month horror movies into the last few days
Yeah.
of spooky month. But
That's
Taco, last but
definitely
not
me, so
least,
I'm proud of myself.
I see you have a
I
thing
am
shirt.
too.
Yeah.
So what-
I did watch the thing while my daughter was napping today to get ready for this, which is kind of it was like I should have just watched the ending of the Vikings game because I've seen the thing 1,000 times. So I didn't get to see Kirk Cousins win and then pull out his Achilles tendon, and now our quarterback's done for the season. So I'm glad I missed that. But anyway,
Sports.
Sports ball.
Go Vikings.
So I've been if you want to limit it to literally 4 things, it's been I've been watching stuff like spooky stuff for my daughter. So we watched Hocus Pocus, Matilda, and Casper the Friendly Ghost for Christina Ricci this
That's
week.
awesome.
If we want to branch it out to actually something a little more interesting, I did go see Killers of the Flower Moon and loved it in theaters. Watched it the day it came out at noon because I just love seeing old people react to stuff. If you go to a noon movie, man, be ready to be the youngest dude by a country mile. But
no, I'll stop you right there. Morning shows are some of the best, especially for someone that's like
Sure.
over 30.
you
Like-
don't have to worry about people being on their phones because theirs are still hooked
They
to the
don't have a
wall. Like,
phone.
Yeah, exactly.
They don't know how they use them.
People are
What's the
using
text?
phones in your theaters, guys. What's going on?
Oh yeah.
Jeez.
And yeah, so and then if we want to talk about what we do in the shadows, I just finished the last season. So we just cannonballed the brand new season, me and my wife. If you guys haven't watched What We Do in the Shadows, it is easily one of the funniest comedies being made right now.
Mhm.
And it is so funny. The TV show, not the movie. My wife actually didn't like the movie, so it was a hard sell to get her to watch the TV show. Now she loves the TV show. So.
I've heard that. I've heard that.
Taika Waititi, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He's
I
very
think he just
very
I
hit or
wouldn't watch it
miss.
for that reason.
He's not
Oh.
really in the show too much.
No.
Didn't he direct it though?
Yeah.
He's a show. He made the movie, and the show's based
Oh,
off it,
okay.
so it's based off the same universe. I think him and Jermaine Clement helped write it, but I don't
Okay.
think they're like
earlier
directly
seasons.
involved. Or
The
I'm
earlier
way off
seasons.
into the showrunners. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, they're literally doing all kinds of stuff. Like he's a busy Kiwi. So
He
yeah.
definitely is.
Yeah.
I would want to talk more about What We Do in the Shadows, but I need to dive deeper in the horror movies that you introduced to your daughter, like Casper. Like I grew up on Casper. I love that film.
She
I was
did
at a-
well with Casper. She did not do well with Trunchbull for Matilda. She kept yelling
Yeah,
mean
she's
lady
scary.
and running away. And I was like, dude, I get it, man.
I mean,
She's
she
a
loves
villain,
things in
bro.
The choker, so
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, the chokey.
I'd be scared too.
The
So yeah,
chokey.
I was at a family Halloween party, and like we were like putting something on in the background, and so I clicked Disney Plus, and I saw like all those you just mentioned talk on Disney Plus, which is awesome. Another one was like the Megaplex, Horror of the Megaplex or something like that. You
Phantom
remember
of
that
the
one?
Megaplex.
Yeah, thank you.
Phantom of the Megaplex. That's some old school Disney original movie stuff. I remember when that came out.
Yeah, and there was
I'm
another.
not lame, but
No, there was
lame.
another one with like three. Oh, I'm gonna look this up while we're talking here. There's like another one with like three movie hunter ghost people. I don't know, but anywho, I put Casper on in the background for like 15, and I was like, this is one I think I would actually like them to remake. Like, I think it'd be kind of cool to see with modern technology. But there is something to be said about how it looks. It feels that it just has that sort of like 90s look.
The only thing that doesn't really like it almost completely holds up except for the CG, and it has to rely so much on the CG. It's not awful by any means,
right? Yeah,
but
yeah.
It's not great,
right?
And everything else about that movie actually kind of works. And I've noticed something about being old and like a dad, where I now cry for family movies. Like I'm crying for Casper now, and I'm like,
it feels sad, man. Yeah.
I'm watching Matilda, and I'm like, she finally found a good mom. Like I'm like, Jesus Christ, get a hold of yourself, Mark.
What have I become?
And I'm like, I need to watch some body horror with The Thing to get out of this funk.
Exactly. Just early 2000s and late 90s. Disney films just completely wreck me now as well. Just because.
Ready? I got some for you here. Mom's Got a Date with a Vampire.
Oh,
yes.
Don't Look Under the Bed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Phantom
of the Megaplex.
This is some Disney.
The Scream Team.
The Scream Team.
So that's one that's like they used to play on a Disney.
We also did not all four, but just the first 3 Halloween Towns like last week. Yeah,
nice.
Because you just gotta waste an afternoon, you know.
Yeah. Well, hey,
you just gotta throw away some time.
I got a question for you both as parents. Does this sort of Halloween time now that you have children? Does it become more like family based, or is it still like spooky, scary sort of thriller stuff, or is it like a combo?
For me, at least, and I think Jamie Lee's close, but it's finally you're getting to introduce this really amazing time to your kids. So it's family based, but it's like it's really cool for me because I love Halloween stuff. So I get to like put Rob Zombie into the CD player and have her enjoy it. You know, like it's getting them into it. It's the best type of Halloween I've ever had. I love introducing Halloween and spooky stuff to my kid.
And do they like dress up for movies and things like that? That's awesome. I love
Jamie Lee, do you want to answer that question too?
That's a no-brainer for me. Like we all know that I love dressing up. We all know that I'm going to force that onto my child. But thankfully, my child, I don't know why either, because I'm like the least horror person, as you guys know. But Chelsea has always been into, even when she first started on YouTube, like she's always looked up like skeletons. And sure, they're only like kid versions of it, but she's always been totally fine with spooky things. And thankfully, touch wood, she's never been scared of things. Like I was just saying on my stream yesterday that we do our best to not watch the adult version of scary things. Like when we're watching The Walking Dead, we try not to have it on when she's around. But she obviously sees some of it. And she
watches CNN. It's scary enough for her. So, you know,
we don't actually watch the news ever, just to be fair. But
Australia doesn't have any news. They don't. Nothing has happened.
What do they have to report on?
Nothing's happened there since the last crocodile.
Nicole Kidman
died, and that's all that's happened.
Oh yeah, right. Our cinema queen, Nicole Kidman.
Right. Yeah. You know, Marley, funny enough that they actually don't have AMC is what Jamie Lee told me, which I think is crazy. So she doesn't even know like that like whole thing. Yeah.
Tyrone sent me the link and it's like Aussie Nicole Kidman, like this is our cinema brand. And I'm like, huh? The hell? AMC to me is The Walking Dead's channel. Do you know what I mean? Like AMC, AMC Plus. That's all.
They're not related either, which is funny.
Yeah.
Well, I think
AMC movies is not related to AMC.
Isn't there like another big chain out in Australia? It's like OMC or something like that. Or
Odeon.
Odeon. I don't know why I said OMC.
We don't have AMC here. We have Marcus. Yeah, Marcus Cinema.
Oh, I've heard of Marcus.
Huh,
Yeah,
I've never heard of
that's a
that
good
one.
You got this dude named Greg Marcus, who I always take pictures of because he does like the intros. I always take pictures of and make fun of him on my Snapchat and share, which now Tyrone can enjoy because we're friends on Snap.
Thank you. I'm so honored. Yeah, we have Regal near me, AMC, and then like Cinema Lux or something. It's way too expensive, by the way.
Cinemark?
Yeah, yeah. Oh my God, Showcase Cinema is way too expensive. It's ridiculous. It's like literally, it's like $24 for a ticket. It's unreal.
Yeah,
unreal.
if I had the choice, I would never choose to go to a Regal in my life ever again because I've always
No.
I've
I had a
always had
Regals
bad experiences.
in college, but
I
don't
worked
know.
at a Regal, and then since I left that job, I've had bad experiences ever since. So I don't
We
know
only-
if it's the CEO cursing me or something like that for leaving, but I don't know. It's just
Do
it's
Gosh.
weird.
do they get regions? Because even if you have multiple, like around here, we have 2 major theaters, and they're both
Mhm.
Marcus. And I remember when I lived in Washington, there was 3 in the area, and all 3 of them are Regal.
It
Like,
must be. It must
They
be.
like they got some mob stuff going down where it's like you don't come on this side of the Mississippi. That's my area. This AMC
Yeah.
They're most definitely like region. I don't think this is the right term to use, but region locked. Like with,
Yeah.
with the theaters, just kind of like how you can't get an In-N-Out
You
burger.
don't watch
on
Regal
the
this
East
side of
Coast.
this side of 8th Street. Come on,
No, it is. It is like
Westwoods, yo,
you don't cross into
But-
Brooklyn.
throwing up
Right.
gang signs now.
My favorite theater is my local one, Coolidge Corner Theater. It's been around.
Shout
I know
out.
you're a history buff. JFK's theater. You know what I mean? Like it's
Yeah.
So Coolidge Corner
Is
Theater
this the
is
one you said
excellent.
the other day with the Taylor Swift when they had the? Yeah, that's very
We-
cool. That
We
was
have
very
a
cool,
really,
very
really, really
vintage.
tiny indie theater just called Fargo Theater, which you can rent out like a really small space to do birthdays. I did my 30th birthday there watching Empire Strikes Back. But
I was just thinking of doing that
Cool.
next year for my birthday.
So
That
it's
seems
so
like-
great.
oh, that's awesome.
But the cool thing about this theater is they always have the small indies that are most likely going to be Best Picture noms. Like I watched Whiplash there, Birdman there. I've seen so many like Coda I watched there. Like whenever it's like, I'm pretty sure this is going to get noms at Oscar. Let's go watch them. Like that's where I watch like Shape
Yeah,
of Water.
my
like
favorite
those kind of
local-
movies.
My favorite local theater is the Crest Theater. I live like 3 blocks away from it, and
Yeah.
I'm watching Rocky Horror Picture Show on Monday.
Yeah.
Nice.
But that's not in my last 4 watch. So moving into my last 4 watched, I watched Five Nights at Freddy's.
Okay.
Oh,
This
okay.
week.
Was it as
Uh,
terrible as people said?
It's pretty bad. It's pretty
I
bad.
didn't
I don't
hear it.
recommend it.
It's the worst thing you can hear about a horror movie when it comes out is nothing. Like I didn't hear nothing. I'm like, it's not
I
even
did.
like
It was
so
not good.
cringy it's good, or it's actually scary when it's just like farts. It's like, oh no, that's gotta be
It-
bad.
I've only played one of the games, and like, yeah, it was very scary and very tense. That the problem that I had with Five Nights at Freddy's is that there is like it's not scary at all. It's not scary at all, and like the movie's trying to do way too much for its own good, and
Yeah.
and
It sucks.
I don't know. It just seems it's felt very odd to me. But yeah, it's only like 90 minutes or something like that, so it's not that much of your time. But even then,
Yeah.
I wouldn't even waste your time with that. But speaking of a movie that you probably should be wasting your time on, it's Totally Killer, the new Amazon Prime.
Is it good?
I
I've
loved
heard
it.
good things.
Then I will watch.
Totally Killer or The Killer?
Totally
Totally
Killer.
killer.
It's
Not
like a
The
cross
Killer,
between Back to
the
the Future,
David
isn't
Fincher movie.
it? This is the one where she goes back into the like across of like Back to the Future. People said
Yeah,
like she
it's
goes back in time.
Yeah,
to
she
find
goes
the
back in
killer.
time, and it has like a lot of Back to the Future like
Did you say this
references.
is
And
David Fincher?
Yeah.
no,
Oh God!
just Tyrone said The Killer, and I
Oh,
was like,
no, I
not
was
the
like,
David Fincher film, The Killer.
This is David Fincher. I don't need Marley to tell me to go watch a David Fincher movie. Okay.
But no, but Totally Killer. It's like it reminded
looks
me
good.
so much of like Scream, and like if Scream and Back to the Future had a baby, like that. This is the movie that will come out from that. And for someone that's a fan of Back to the Future and just recently became a fan of Scream this year,
I love Scream.
I had a really like absolute blast. It's a little over long. If I could like be like the editor, I probably would have cut it up like maybe like the last act. But even with that, like I still had a really great time with Totally Killer. And then I I watched
pumped
You're
for the
Next.
next thing you're about to say. Yeah, You're Next. I'm hijacking this really quick. You're Next
No, go ahead.
is
Go ahead.
top 3 slasher films for me. Like, when I'm saying slashers, I'm saying we go all the way back, right? And it's still like it's up there with like Black Christmas, the first Scream. Like, it is a killer slasher film. Like, it completely subverts expectations, but in the right way. It's got a lot of really cool things to say, and it doesn't feel overly preachy about it. And it's super good, and it's violent. And I remember the first time I watched it, I was like in my art studio by myself. I would watch scary movies that help me stay awake. Like, you can't fall asleep if you're terrified, right? By the time I was halfway through that movie, I checked all the doors to make sure they were locked like 8 times. I had a baseball bat leaned up against my easel. Like, I was terrified, man. That movie got to me. I love that movie. That's awesome.
It's really terrifying. Just to echo everything that you just said, I also love just that it's. I don't know. I just love that it's a. I appreciate any Eat the Rich stories as well.
Yeah.
And like this is totally like one of those movies, and it's I no spoilers for the end of that movie, but that final death sequence, but both of them, like just
it's so
like,
good that I'm not even sure which one you're discussing because there's so many like good right at the end. Like that third act is bonkers good, and in the gore, if you want to talk carnage candy, that movie's right up there. With I'm not even gonna say what happens. I'm just gonna say one word so Marley knows what I'm talking about. Like, but piano wires, kick, like some good carnage candy. If you just want to see some,
right,
go check out Your Next, man.
But yeah, Your Next is really great. Check that out. You can watch that on Max, the one to watch for HBO. And then finally, I want to top off our Thing discussion with another John Carpenter film. It's a first time watch for me. Halloween. I watched that for the first time. I generally had a good time with it. I thought it's not as scary as I thought, just because I think I've seen like all the stuff like on social media, but I really appreciated.
Interesting. Sorry. I do this thing where I go start talking when he's done, and then I start talking when I have that.
Oh no, it's cool.
It's called ADHD. It's totally normal.
Mark,
I mean,
this is the sentence you'll say when Marley's done, and I start telling myself out loud the sentence.
But the thing I appreciated most about Halloween is the introduction of this, where it basically is like an origin story told within like 3 minutes of Michael Myers killing like his sister.
First person walk through the house, tracking shot of a little kid grabbing a knife and going to kill his sister. It's what started, and it's not the first slasher film. Black Christmas did a lot of it first. I wouldn't say it so much rips off Black Christmas, but it definitely, if they saw Black Christmas first, I would be a little dubious. But I love Carpenter. He's one of my favorite directors of all time. But that opening changed horror movies 100%. After that 3rd minute in, it goes, oh, this is the world we're living where now slashers are a thing, and it's all because of that opening.
Yeah, for sure. Especially just the way the camera rotates around when they call out Michael and it rotates around and it's a kid, and you're like, whoa.
This little kid in a clown suit, yeah.
And I just like just some of the jump scares too of like Michael Myers. Like later in the movie, you have like these super wide shots, and he just appears like out of nowhere, and like it's not scary, but it's off-putting. I like how off-putting like Michael Myers is throughout the entire movie.
Because we're discussing The Thing, we will talk about Carpenter's directing style and how just criminally underrated he is as a director. Like everyone no one ever just talks about how good his shots are, and they're just so good. And he does this thing, especially in The Thing, which again, I will at least talk about, where he gives you the set where you see you're never up close. He never like is here. You never, he's always showing you the world. So then you're now looking behind people's shoulders. You're now looking at stuff. You're not paying. And he perfected that in Halloween. And a lot of it is they didn't have 90 minutes of a movie, and they had to film 90 minutes. So a lot of it is just these long shots where they're just kind of like walking, doing nothing. But then when you start noticing Michael in the background, those long shots of nothing are now intense paranoia because you're looking behind Jamie Lee Curtis all the time. And 90% of the time, there's nothing back there. You're just like, So these shots of just like two girls walking over from high school, you're just like on the edge of your seat.
It's like a
So
Where's
good.
Waldo. It's like the Where's Waldo effect, which is
really good.
Which is really great. I gave it
made for like $8 too. Like it's just the lowest budget ever. Sorry, go ahead.
But yeah, I gave it 4.5 stars on Letterboxd, and yeah.
I just want to say one quick thing is like I think I saw Halloween when I was like a kid, so I don't even really remember. But one thing I do remember distinctively was the music and sound being a big part of that.
By Carpenter. Yep, Carpenter sound edits and sound mixes and does his own soundtrack. So
and obviously we're gonna get into the thing and. I didn't even know he was Halloween, but that makes a ton of sense. That would be his style. I as far as the horror goes, man, it's like I am just dipping my toes into the thriller horror world.
Let me know when you want to dive in, man. I'll give you a list.
like, dude, I'm talking about broke my virginity with like Midsummer. You know what I mean? Like it's like barely.
Well, when you're ready for Last House on the Left, give me a call.
Yeah,
right.
No, but a lot of those things that you talked about, I remember even just as a kid, the really wide shots, and it made it spooky because you're just like the emptiness made you kind of go, oh shoot, like is something gonna pop up? Is he gonna come up? And then sometimes it would be like when it's nothing, all of a sudden like Jamie Lee Curtis turns character, and then he's there, and you're like, fuck, it's like So I totally get you, but at the same time, it's the films are. They're horror elements, but they're not scary to where they like, at least for me, where I felt like if someone doesn't even like that stuff, where I'm like, whoa, because he does just such a good job at having the foundation of a strong script and like interesting world that you're like, you feel like you're one of the members of the world, like you're running with the characters. And so, that was just something that I kind of took up as a kid from Halloween that, transitioning into the thing here. So go ahead, do your thing.
One more thing on Halloween, since I'll just put it out there. I don't know if I'm out of pocket for saying this, but Jamie Lee Curtis during that time, she can get it. I just want to say that.
I mean, you're not out of pocket, but also I do love that she hated that she played the like virgin good girl, that every time she ever did a film for Jamie or for John Carpenter again, like The Fog, she's like, can I please play like the sex positive character? Like, I'm tired of people thinking I'm like this. Like, no, I was off character for Halloween. Can I cut my hair short and bang the old dude? Watch The Fog. That's another Carpenter.
Right.
But she was not in the thing because there's not a female in the thing.
Right.
All dudes.
Right. Jamie Lee, have you seen?
Is that a metaphor?
Like Tyrone, a very long time, like way back in the day, and I've never watched any since. Like I haven't watched. Like, what are they up to? 10 or something? Aren't they?
Yeah,
I think it's
no
6 or 7.
Oh my god, even more.
13 or 14.
Yeah, no.
Oh wow.
6 or 7. Paul Greengrass just did not Paul Greengrass. Whatever his name is. The homeboy just did 3, and then there was 2 Rob Zombies. That's 5 right there. And then there is a Halloween Resurrection. I want to say I can do this math really quick. Was 9 or 10. So
I'm not gonna lie.
Like 13 or 14.
I thought these were remakes. Like to be honest. Well,
you don't count remakes. Okay, fine. The Halloween franchise ended with technically. H2O wasn't technically part of the main series, so it ended with Halloween Origins of Michael Myers or Chris Michael Myers. They're both the right title, which I believe is the 7th.
Okay, so, that sounds right.
I
and
swear,
then there was H2O Resurrection. Yeah,
the naming for all the Halloween movies are probably more fucked up than the Fast and Furious universe. So just
H2O was Halloween 20 years later. Like it's referencing when it came out. Like not even anything. And talk about timelines. Like, oh my god, we're not doing Halloween.
Yeah, we're not doing Halloween.
My answer is a long time ago.
Yeah.
So,
Halloween timelines makes comic book dudes like, wait, what?
Right.
Sure.
But yeah, those were our last 4 watched. Let us know in the comments down below what you've been watching. But without further ado, let's get into our discussion of John Carpenter's The Thing.
Mayday. Mayday. Anyone here Clear Station 31. You read me? Found something in the ice. We need some help down here. Can anybody hear me? We found something. We found something. We found something.
You got it.
That was a clip from the trailer from The Thing, directed by John Carpenter. It released in 1982 and is number 76 on the Letterboxd Top 250. I'm just going to read the synopsis here from IMDb. A research team in Antarctica is hunted by a shape-shifting alien that assumes the appearance of its victims. Ooh.
I would say that's a great synopsis of what I watched this morning. I'm not gonna lie. You know what? Let's do this. So this is my first time watching this, and shout out to Projo, my college professor. He had this list of like his top like you must watch movies, and like this was on his horror category.
Mhm.
And so it's been there for me for quite some time, and I've heard good things. And when I started like at first, because I was like, this is kind of slow. Like, where is it going? And I think the thing
You
Taco,
think it's slow, huh?
yeah, well, yeah, and then Taco. So what you mentioned earlier, like I. One thing that's difficult when you watch these films that were like trailblazers or like like one of the first to do some things, you're like, I've seen this, okay, I know where this is going, but it's kind like it does flip your head and you're like, whoa, where is this going at times? But it does make it a little bit difficult. And I just wanted to preface my comments with that. But overall, once we get into that second act, I'm like locked in 100%. I want to know where it's going. I thought the different character personalities were awesome. The paranoia where you're like, okay, no one's trusting each other. We talked about the shots, right? Beautiful, long, wide shots. The music. And then ultimately, of course, the weird ending, which was really cool too. But those are my initial thoughts. I did really enjoy it. I'm not a big horror person. I don't think this is. I feel like you shouldn't be categorize this as a scary film unless it's like like blood or gore bothers you. But no, I did really enjoy it. My counterpart here, Jamie Lee, what did you think? As someone who also watched for the first.
Are we starting off? Sorry, are we doing like a breakdown all the way, like one at a time, or are we like? I'm
We're
sorry.
just doing overall thoughts.
Okay,
Overall
right now we're
thoughts
just doing overall
Yeah.
thoughts. Jamie Lee, I know you just watched it, so what are your overall thoughts?
Oh my gosh. Ugh, paranoia. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
The whole time I was constantly on edge because as Taco talked about, and Tyrone a little bit as well, like I thought that is it world building? Is that what it's called? The shots, whatever.
Yes.
In that first probably 5 minutes, like I felt exactly the description that I felt from watching The Shining in them first few clips where they show us the landscape. I felt like they were alone. Like you get
Oh
you
yeah.
feel like when you're with them, they are isolated, like they have no communication to the outside world. It's all ice. They're going to be frozen in. Like, I feel like I'm with them, like claustrophobic a little bit,
Yeah.
like,
Oh, yeah.
and I get
Oh, yeah.
that just from the shots that were in the first 5 minutes of the movie. Like, same thing with The Shining. So yeah, they do a really good job of setting all that up. And yeah, as Tyrone said, from that second act there, the paranoia just kicks in, and I was constantly on edge, just thinking about, like, it was more of a thriller to me because I was constantly thinking about, okay, well, who was where then? All right, well, this one could have been the thing, and this one could have been assimilated at this time, and I was constantly thinking throughout.
Mystery.
And then we got to a mystery, yeah, and then we get to the ending, and I'm just like,
I knew that was gonna bother you. I knew that ending was gonna bother you. As soon as I saw it, I was like, Jamie Lee's gonna throw her remote at the TV.
Not even the ending. The fact that you don't learn anything from this movie. This movie gives you 10%. And that's what I love about it. And we still don't know what so much of it is. We're gonna get to it when we break it down individually. But I knew Jamie Lee watching it because Jamie Lee's like, oh, is this guy this? Is this? And I'm like, oh. You're not gonna find out who sabotaged the blood, Jamie Lee, and it's gonna eat at you. Like this movie ain't gonna tell you anything.
Like this is my second. This is my second watch. Like I watched it for the first time last year, and I never really put my thoughts out there online just because I wanted it to kind of like just like fester and just kind of like I need to watch this like a second time. And on the second time, like I'm really noticing like the paranoia and like how cold this movie felt.
I love
like
it.
watching this.
I watch this
watching
movie in
this,
the middle
like
of the
I
winter
was
all the
shivering.
time. Yeah.
I was shivering, and it
Love
was
how
just
Shiver.
it's absolutely like just chilling, just like watching like what happens to like all these characters,
Yeah.
and just I know I seen a comment like on the trailer for the trailer on YouTube, and someone said that, like, this is just live action Among Us at this point. And I'm like,
Pretty much. But a lot cooler effects.
But it goes
yeah.
back to what I just said, right? Where it's like, like having seen so many like modern tropes and things, like you're kind of like, where it's going. And like, I knew at some point I was like, this is going to end where either everyone's dead or we're never going to find out. And, but I was okay with that. Like you said, Taco, I think open-ended film, I know it pisses off a lot of American audiences, but like we just really, and I guess Aussies too over here, but but like I think it's something we need more of, because I think you don't always need such a clear beginning, middle, end, and it also just leaves things open for interpretation. Like you're allowed to like you saw that scene and whatever your life experiences are, you put it into that scene and you go, okay, I know someone like that. I think it's him. He would have definitely, you know what I mean? Like everyone starts to sort of interpret these characters based on just their actions, but also like your own bias when there is that unclear sort of unsettling ending. And that's what I loved about this, is I just felt that it really, it just kind of made you go, man, like Jamie Lee said, you felt like you were in there with them. Like, did I do this? Like it's just,
am I the thing?
Right. Yeah.
I want us to get on, but I want to say
what are your
my
overall
initial thoughts.
Yeah.
So I actually didn't grow up with this movie. I grew up with a lot of horror movies. As I stated a lot, I didn't have any restrictions on what we could watch growing up. Like we set our own, which it's probably a bad thing. Where like she waits until we're crying. Like maybe they shouldn't watch Clockwork Orange, like. But but anyways, so I watched the thing when I was already a film nerd, and it made it that much better for me, because I was already watching all these YouTube stuff of breaking down scenes and behind the scenes stuff. And I mean, I watched a breakdown of a few of these effects before I ever watched it. So I knew at least a couple of the things that were going to happen. And I also knew like, I kind of was introduced to the film before I watched the film, and it gave me a chance to really just dig into it. And I watched this movie maybe 4 or 5 years ago the first time. I want to say 5 years ago. It is my favorite horror movie of all time. It so quickly made it up there that I went and bought it because I couldn't find it anywhere. It wasn't in any streaming services, at least back then. And after I watched it the first time, I watched it like 8 times in 1 month, and my wife got so over it. And then I went and bought Thing t-shirts. Like, I love this movie, and it's for a lot of reasons. It's the nihilistic point of view. It's you're completely screwed. Did you really think that these people in the middle of nowhere who can't even get like a call out when the phones are working were going to be safe? Like, no way. And I kind of love it. And John Carpenter's directing, all the performances are just so bonkers good. They're so weird. They're so real. It almost makes you like it's like almost uncanny. Where I'm like, I hate that human. Oh wait, that's an actor. Like they're so like they don't even feel like actors a lot of the times. Like, yeah, Keith David is so good as Childs too, and yeah, like this movie just fires on all cylinders, and it is not one of my favorite movies of all time. Like, I don't rank it as like a 10 out of 10, like I do a lot of other films, because there definitely is a couple issues. I will give it like pacing issues and things like that. But when it comes to a horror movie and doing what a horror movie is supposed to do, and also showing us good makeup, which is something a horror movie should do, is show us good genre stuff, good carnage candy. This movie fires on all of those cylinders, and I think it's a must watch, not only for a frozen day if you live in a place that actually gets winter and you can't go to work that day, watch the thing, and also right before Halloween, because outside of like 3 or 4 other films, you're not really going to get the same existential dread that you're going to get from this movie. I don't think, at least.
Yeah, let's get into our breakdown of the thing. Let's start with this opening sequence of the Norwegian helicopter flying over this frozen tundra. Like, what are our initial thoughts on this shot of just everything that what John Carpenter is telling us.
Just
Or
very
showing us.
inviting. Just very inviting into this world. And like Jamie Lee alluded to earlier, it just makes you go, these folks are alone. And when you finally get down there with them, you're like Taco said, you feel cold, you feel like I'm in this with them. A
This
lot of
looks
those
right
things.
outside of town in North Dakota in January, though. Like this is what like you want to just go right out there if you want that.
Yeah, I mean Boston, like we get a crap ton of snow. Like we've had
Sure.
plenty of times where you can't go to work, so they like make an announcement. So like
Yeah.
I love what you said earlier, Taco, about this being. I know obviously it's Halloween, but this is a great winter movie.
Oh yeah.
Great
Mhm.
winter movie to watch.
But I have an Easter egg for you for this opening scene. So Norwegian chasing the dog, jumps out, one of them blows himself up, which is just prop comedy at its best, right? And the other one walks up, starts shooting. He yells things in Norwegian. They spoiled the movie for Norwegian audiences because he yells in Norwegian something like, "That is not a dog. That is the thing. It will kill you all. Stay away from it." So apparently,
Wow.
audiences who knew Norwegian were like, "Hey!"
Yeah. Yeah.
Which I think is so
That's
funny.
messed up, but
Yeah.
but that's so funny too.
But what else would that character be yelling?
Yeah. Yeah.
Either
I
not
did
make
put,
him
I'm not
speak,
gonna lie, I did put the subtitles on because I was like, what is he saying? And all it
He
said
just
was
says,
like speaking
speak Norwegian. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
I was like,
Don't
Same.
ruin
it
that.
must be something important.
My
Right.
favorite thing about watching, I watch react. I don't ever watch movie reactions. I don't. It's just, if that's what you do, that's cool. But like, it's just not something I do. I watch it for this movie because I love for the people like, why are they shooting at that beautiful doggo? And it's like, ooh. And
Just
I
wait.
wait for the next scene when they get to the
Such
kennel.
an
I'm like, not so
asshole.
beautiful anymore, is he? Like, it's
Let's get into that scene because I have some beef with John Carpenter because I seen I seen Halloween. There's a dog in that, and then there's a dog in this movie. What issue does John Carpenter have with dogs? in all of his
It's funny that you say
different
that
time.
because
Dogs weren't treated well back then. Okay.
oh Jesus! All right. There's actually a site called "Does the Dog Die?" And what
Oh my God.
it's because if you get triggered by certain things, like
You
or-
look
or
to
certain-
see, hey, am I going to be messed up by this movie's dog performance?
correct, or it's not
Yeah.
even, but it's not just dogs; it's blood,
Yeah,
it's
I bet-
gore, it's violence.
I bet
And
Milo
so
and
I-
Otis is like way up there of do not watch this movie because they killed
Top
at least
tier.
6 cats during that.
So
Top
I
tier.
couldn't watch that. That'd be horrible. But like, does the dog die? It's a real thing because just again, a little Easter egg about Hollywood. A lot of movies actually don't get greenlit if they kill dogs. Because
good.
yeah, because audiences just really don't react well to it. So that's an interesting thing that you brought up there, that he did it in Halloween as well. But it kind of
You're saying like actually in stage. I thought you meant like how they're treating the dogs backstage. Yeah, no, dogs
No.
definitely get ripped apart in this movie.
yeah. No, I know. Yeah, and like that's a lot of times they go, yeah, we can't add that in the film. Like audiences just won't like it. So that's an interesting thing about this guy that I think if you're thinking about when this came out, if you're in the theater, one, it instantly makes you go. It makes you furious. You want to know who is responsible for this, why did this happen, kind of thing, and then. Also, it's just like makes you sad. I mean, sad to see a dog go. Like it's an interesting way to start you out. What did you all think about that?
Yeah, same thing. I text Taco and I was like, oh, I thought that the dog was like, I thought they were trying to shoot him because when they got to like reading about the information about the Norwegians, they found that there should have been like 8 men or something like that. And I said, oh, maybe the dog ate or the wolf, like attacked the men or something like that. And they were trying to kill the dog because why would they go, like they were on a mission to kill this dog, like they're in a freaking helicopter, for God's sake, going across the
Throwing
snow, like,
grenades at them too.
at themselves.
Thinking around.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Ah! Get out of here! I
That was
hate
nuts.
huskies.
yeah.
I feel like we are moving over, like, because this movie, like, it's so important when it comes to every single scene. But there's a couple things I do want to state, like the Norwegian dog, the thing dog, his performance is so good, and I love that the movie keeps telling you there's something going on with this dog because we keep seeing events from the first like 15 minutes before the dog kennel scene from his point of view. So they'll see like, oh, they're coming back from the Norwegian station, and we see the dog watching them from out the window, and we're like, why is the dog like paying attention? Like, what's going on? And I love that it keeps flipping to that.
I just thought that the dog was scared of the thing, like of what they were bringing back. I thought they were bringing back the alien because dogs sense a lot of things, you know what I mean? And I just thought, oh, maybe he's scared, and he was always like, when the person would walk, like the dog would be trailing like behind them, sort of thing. But now I realize he was trying to imitate.
He's like, damn it, they're on to me already. I better go simulate that.
But that's what we call misdirection. So John Carpenter's a master at it. So.
That beautiful husky. Can I bring up the silhouetted man, Marley? Do you mind?
Yeah. Let's go.
All right. So mystery number 1. Who is the silhouetted man? Husky's walking down, kind of does the double take into this room, and all he sees is a shadow of a guy, kind of curly haired, and then the dog walks in, boom, first assimilation. So let's talk about who it is, guys. We don't know. The actor is actually Dick Clark, who is hilariously, he's playing the shape on the wall. He played the shape in Halloween. He's the first guy to play Michael Myers. So that shape isn't the shape of an actual actor from the movie. They just got, did I say Dick Clark? It's Dick Warlock. So it's Dick Warlock's shadow. So it's not actually any of the actual actors. So a lot of people think it's either Norris, who we do know is a thing later on, but I'm kind of like torn on that because I think Norris is like in the middle of transforming later on when he kind of, I think it's Palmer, which makes me even happier because if it is Palmer and he gets assimilated that early, that means that alien is smoking so much weed for the rest of the movie to try to act like, because that guy's constantly like this. And if you find out that the dog assimilated him right away, then this alien's like, I don't even know if I'm going to attack these guys. Childs is cool. We're watching old movies.
I'm hungry.
I'm kind of hungry.
Get the munchies. Well, we'll get into this theory a little bit. I just kind of started like working on this theory like today. Like, what's the possibility of R.J. McCready being like an imitation? Where
I did think that when they went to his tower and he's like, oh, I only bring I can't remember the name, sorry, but he only brought one person with him to the tower, and I thought, oh, is that his chance to yeah, I did think that. And then when he was in control of and this was probably my favorite scene when they did the interrogation scene with the blood. I thought then too, one of the
most suspenseful scenes of all time. Yeah,
that was a great scene. So I did think that, but I really don't think he is at the end.
I don't think even at the end. I don't think he. I think he beats the cheating bitch at the end. I really do. Just like the chess game.
I feel like if he was, there would have to have been a little bit more of a commentary or some sort of idea about like, we may come from the same place but have different morality or different ideas about how to go about things. And I just don't understand, like, like if there were two things per se, right? Like why would one go after the other? Is it just like an animal thing? Perhaps that's okay. But I just think that there would have need to been a little bit more of a commentary on that.
I don't know if we're talking about the ending already.
We kind of jumped ahead. For sure.
I have like 100 things I want to bring up, but specifically, the only person who doesn't fight the big monster at the end is Childs. He disappears in the snow and lets them go fight him, which is a big reason why a lot of people think Childs is like, let me know if you guys succeed. But I don't want to talk about the ending quite yet.
I mean that's fine. We can hold off, but I just think that as far as talking about like if he was, I don't think there was enough throughout the story for me to kind of go there personally.
Yeah, I don't think R.J. McCready ever gets assimilated, and in fact, I think it was really messed up for you to assume that my man Kurt Russell.
We'll get into that. We'll get into my theories, but let's get back into this group discovering like the alien ship. Like when we are introduced to R.J. McCready at first, Kurt Russell. Our Lord and Savior Kurt Russell. So,
dude, he's a 10 in this movie. That mane, that hair, that beard, holy crap! dude is so good looking. It's like it angers me. Like I
See,
watch
this
it.
is
Every time
why
I
I
watch it,
think-
suck in my gut. Like hope I'm sexy again.
This is why I think like
My
the
lord.
thing would have taken R.J. McCready because it's just like I want to look that good.
Yeah, I want to
So
look
it's
like Kurt Russell. I want to look like Kurt Russell now.
Me too.
Yeah, so
Right.
a lot of so as you guys were saying earlier, this is kind of your slow bits, but it's your slow bits the first time you watch it because you don't realize all the chess pieces keep moving. You don't see, the dog moving around. You don't realize what they go and see. But I love. Let's just talk when they go and fly to the Norwegian station right away. It looked like an entire movie. No, yeah, well, he keeps calling it Swede. It's like
He walks in,
you
he's like,
Swedish,
hey, Sweden!
hey,
Hey,
Swedes!
Sweden! Yeah, something like that.
Norwegian, Mac.
I
love
like
that there's
7 times.
There's a character named Mac and a character named Windows before those that became companies. That was completely on accident. I love that. All right, moving on. Let's talk about the frozen guy with his wrist cut in the blood frozen halfway. Like, you want to walk and do the scariest thing you can see? Like, it looks like an entire horror movie already went on and they didn't know about it. And that's what makes it so scary because it's like, dudes, the Norwegians had just as good of a chance to survive as you guys. What's going to happen? You guys are screwed. Like, if this thing did this here, you guys are effed. And then of course they bring another one back because you're stupid.
I like to think about like when I'm watching older movies, like what would the audience reaction would have been in theater seeing something for because like I'm watching this on streaming, iPads and computers and all this it's just different. And like I'd imagine that people would have just been like, what is going on? Like just like you said, like I mean, there's a full-on like horror movie that has already displayed here, like which
became the prequel in 2011. They made the Norwegian base,
which I hear is not.
It's not as good because the movie itself is fine, but they actually tried to do the effects practical, and then at the last minute, the studio just CG'd over them, and it's really disappointing. And there's literally a time where they walk into they're looking at a giant CG square. They're like, whoa, what's this? And it's literally covering up an effect. It's just a matte effect covering up something they did. Like, besides that, I actually do like the prequel, but it is what happens at the Norwegian base, which kind of sets you up. There is some silly stuff where like you see the axe on the wall in this one, and there's just a time where like somebody uses an axe, and then their chick goes, no, leave it. And now, as I'm watching, I'm like, what, for continuity? You haven't seen the next movie. Like, you don't have to leave the axe. Like, no, take the axe.
Right.
But yeah, I guess we can end it with they bring back the other thing, and that's when it starts with the whole what are we dealing with? And the great diabetes Wilford Brimley giving us some of the best acting of his career as he's this thing looks normal. I don't know there, Wilford. It doesn't look very normal.
Everybody's got 2 heads, right?
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, right.
Besides the whole split face thing, this thing's pretty normal.
We all look like we're from the Hills Have Eyes,
Did you go
right?
to college
Right.
for your degree? Like, you're like a doctor, right?
And he's got that thing like that he's poking around with, like.
Yeah, he keeps putting the thing blood back in his mouth, and it's like,
What are
dude.
you doing?
Yeah.
But yeah, to get back to the 1982 version of the thing, we move on to like we get to the Norwegian base and like we get introduced to our characters. As we mentioned, it's a very slow build, and then we get into the thing's ability to mimic and like as they're on this base, and the crew soon realizes that the dog for the Norwegian camp is not what it seems as it's in its kennel. What is Jamie Lee and Tyrone? I want to get your first because this is your first watch. I want to know your first reaction, like when this happens. Like,
I literally was like, you will see my reaction because I recorded it, thank God. But I again went back to the fact that the dog was scared. Like when it hopped in the kennel, it was like,
and all the other ones are
cowering.
barking at it.
Right.
Well, I thought they were snarling at something else. Like I thought this alien, the thing that they brought back, was like some sort of identity was here that I hadn't seen yet. I didn't realize that it was a freaking dog. So I thought that dog was like, oh, the poor little thing's scared and whatever. And then next minute,
Right, yeah.
and starts
like
jizzing everywhere. And
Yeah.
I literally said that. I was
Angry
like, oh my God,
jizzing.
it's squirting like, and then I was like, oh, I need to be.
It's trying to
careful with my words,
reproduce.
Yeah, I don't know.
The thing
It
is
was
trying to reproduce.
disgusting.
I don't know
It was
if
so gross.
campy is
Okay.
the word I would use, but like it's like the first time I saw it, I was kind of thinking that like what like this is super like okay, I'm in this like practical effects like
Yeah.
now I know the movie that I'm about to watch, you know, and like so I was like it kind of like strapped me in a little bit like okay, I'm ready to go for this, but I did not expect that coming, and it was definitely creepy, just exactly how Jamie Lee said. Yeah,
And that's our first look at Rob Boutein's special effects. The guy was like 23 when he made this movie, by the way, when he did the special
Wild.
effects. It makes
Wow.
me hate my life. He was like 20 something. He was really young 20s. I'm going to get a lot of this wrong, but he apparently worked like 7 days a week, like 20-hour days, slept at the shop so they can get all of it done. And then a
Sounds
couple
like
of the other
Hollywood.
yeah, a couple of the other really big name guys at the time came in to help him and didn't want any credit. They just wanted to help him, like it was all still his designs and everything, but it was just pretty much keeping him from dying. When he wrapped, he went to the hospital and checked himself into sleep.
Wow.
He went and committed himself because he just needed some rest.
Sleep
That's
deprived.
wild.
Wow.
It's insane.
Hustle
Good old
culture.
America, you know, let's celebrate burning ourselves out.
But-
Absolutely, to create
But
art.
at least
We love it.
To be fair, at least he got paid. So
Well,
there's
what,
that.
45 years later, we can look back and say Rob Boutin did this in his early 20s. This is a statement of your art where he's got
Yeah.
to still be proud of it.
Totally.
Yeah, this isn't even the best effect in the movie, but it's our
No.
first look at like, holy crap, this is what we're dealing with? Heck
I
yeah.
just like watching it, especially a second time. Like I can't imagine like what it was like on set of them moving like the like all the tentacle stuff like around.
Mhm.
If I was on that set, I would probably be busting up laughing, just like trying to
for
make a
sure,
dick
yeah.
joke and something
the
like
like
that. So,
tremor graboid mouth made out of dog tongues that opens up to teeth. Come on, man. Like it's
wild.
so good. It's so good. He tried to create it all like practically. So if there was going to be a weird monster, it's going to be made out of all dog at this point. You know, like he's trying to look at what the thing would have assimilated at that point. So it's like later on, there's nothing but a lot of dog tongues and dog snouts. Like, oh, it's so nuts. But
so what are the people do like when they discover that the
Mac,
dog is? They're
Mac
like, fuck,
says
let's get
grab the flamethrower. If this is your
Yes.
first time watching, it's like, Childs, grab the flamethrower. The
Dude.
fuck did you just say? No, for real. What?
and
To the
Child's just
kennel?
like, let's burn this bitch. Just like-
And then oh my god, yeah, they walk right in and just light up those dogs. There is a fan theory because it does jump up and kind of look like it's gonna crawl in, and then the flames hit it and it falls. A lot of people don't see it fall, so there is a big fan theory that a thing escapes during this scene, which I think is debunked. I don't think it's true, but you'll see that
Fans
pop up
get
on a
too
lot of
into stuff
forums.
sometimes, man.
Dude, you have no
Yes.
clue
And
with
this-
this movie, man.
This
There's
is
so
a
much
movie
YouTube
that they
rabbit
can.
holes.
Yeah,
there's
this
a
is
lot of
movie
YouTube
that
rabbit
they-
holes.
I just,
Yeah.
I
I had a
mean,
lot
me-
of suggestions.
I think it's fun when you're having a discussion, but like I think people take things way too
Yeah.
like, you know, it's like just.
I'm that person. I'm the
Oh,
one
I know.
that
Yep.
takes it too far. So I can
Wait,
totally see.
why did they not do exactly what I thought they were gonna do when I watched that theory video about
Mhm.
this thing that was a prediction? Like, yeah.
So,
That's it.
yeah.
You know
So
it.
yeah, so burning the dogs, and then we get another dissection scene, right, with Blair, and this is again now they're starting to figure out that they can assimilate things, right? Like this is when it really sorry, I'm sorry to take
It's when
over
the-
for you, Marley, but
Well, no,
yeah,
it's
I love
like
it.
this is when the
Really
paranoia starts really like,
Blair.
just opening up, and
When Blair
everyone's just
walks
kind of
up to Clark and just goes, "How long were you alone with those dogs?" He's like, "What are you looking at me like that for?"
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like,
Yeah.
yeah.
We've
I
all
don't
seen
know.
your pictures, Clark. You're into weird stuff. What do you think? No, I'm kidding. No, I just
Okay.
love because they immediately start turning on each other, and then Blair types in his like Windows 1980 freaking like how long until the world ends, and it's like 30 days or 300 days, and he's like, time to mercy kill the world, and he like grabs his gun. Like, holy crap! But Wilford
Yeah.
Brimley goes so hard in this movie.
it's
All right.
it's ridiculous. Like I to be honest, I didn't know it was Wilford Brimley until like the second time I watched, and like I listened to his voice and I was like, is that the diabetes guy? I'm
But
like,
he gives such a good performance, and he's not normally that good. Like I've seen the weird Ewok movies he's done for Star Wars that people tried to bury, but like later on, especially when he's locked up and he's like, watch Clark, like he's like actually doing really good. I'm like, Wilfred, what's up, man? Trying to get that Oscar. I mean, this movie was panned by critics.
The one issue that I do have with them kind of like learning more about like this creature, it kind of goes back to like my original thoughts on Alien, on how like they weren't gonna let like the creature like inside like the ship just because initially because like that's a foreign object. Like I know they're trying to like learn. Like,
These
more
guys are
about this
literally
thing.
research though. Like that's what their jobs are.
Yeah,
Right.
but
What's your
that's
job?
true.
Research. It's like Ken with the beach.
Yeah.
But they literally just seen like what this thing could do, and they're just like, I don't know. I'm like Childs. I'm like out of here. I'm getting the fuck out.
It's
here,
left
so-
out of the movie as much as the show, or it's a book. In the book that this is based off of, Who Goes There, which takes place in the 30s. It was written in the 30s. Completely different film, but still really good. There's this whole thing about discovering new aliens, and a lot of these science characters are really excited for like this massive discovery. But because we just want to get to the paranoia so fast in this, it kind of leaves out that reason why they're like, let's go dig it up. What? There's it kind of leaves that out. But yeah, this is when the real paranoia starts and the movie really starts moving. And
it doesn't let up from
Tyrone,
there.
is this where you go?
Yeah.
When the second act, I'm assuming it's like this scene forward, you're like, okay.
Right, yeah, it's like
Now
now
we're
I'm
cooking.
hooked. Now you really got me. Because like I mean, I was interested before, but now I was like, okay, now I'm fully in this. I'm locked in. Where are we going? And like I just kind of keep saying over and over, it felt like I was on the research team with them trying to figure this out. And like that's why I'm like it definitely this is no question it's a horror, right? But there's a lot of mystery element to this that is just awesome. I really, really love it.
I'm in there with him. I'm cutting my thumb with him. Like, okay.
Yeah. I was thinking that. I was like, honestly, I'm like, okay. I was like, these people would like cut their finger. Like, what is that? Like, how do you even psychologically do that? Like, I just thought about myself in this situation, and I'm like, I would be cooked. I'd be done. I wouldn't know what to do. Like, I'd just be like, just in shambles. Absolutely.
Well, you would be Child. You would just get the fuck out. You're like, see ya, peace out.
Yeah.
You had the right
Windows
idea.
just beelines to the guns. He's like, fuck this, I'm grabbing a shotgun.
Right,
They're like,
right.
Windows, stop. But Marley, if you don't mind, I kind of wanted to touch over like to get us to the gruesome transformations. I kind of want to jump over. So Blair starts freaking out. We get all those scenes, and then after I'm gonna do this without looking up names. Oh my god! After the one guy starts to assimilate, Bennings start halfway assimilates. They burn him, and then they now see what they're really dealing with. And I feel like it's when all the trust starts breaking after Blair starts breaking everything. They have like that speech, which I really love, where he's like burning everything, and Kurt Russell's like, if you were all things, you just jump me. So I know I'm a human. There's got like, he's thinking rational. So you're like, wow, that's a horror movie. Why is he all rational? But yeah, I just, if anyone wants to talk about just like before the really crazy effect happens, but that like 15 minutes where everyone just stops trusting each other, which is
yeah. So I mean, I gotta run, so I just want to make one last like comment on that. Like that to me was sort of like just him running out to the guns and then the cornering him. It's just it's such a relatable moment, I think, in this weird sort of world we're invited into, because I think at that point, like, it's natural you go like, all right, fuck these guys. I gotta like think about myself. You know what I mean? Yeah.
To piggyback off of something you were saying earlier, and I want to wait until this exact moment with this scene when they discover hierarchy. When you were saying about hierarchies and this guy's usually in charge and blah 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 blah. Gary's supposed to be in charge, but Gary's a blubbering freaking goof.
Yeah.
So immediately he's like Norris, and they're like, no, they give it to the helicopter pilot. He's not a higher ranking. This is a military thing, and they give it to the helicopter pilot. And you look at who survives at the end. You got the high-ranking guy, but like the helicopter pilot, the mechanic, and the cook. Like, screw all your society.
Right.
These are your leaders.
Right. Yeah,
Right.
exactly. But all right, Marley, unfortunately, I do got to run.
Do you want to just give your final thoughts on the thing, and we'll probably wrap up here pretty soon. I know we're just scratching the surface on the thing.
Sorry to hijack, but I was trying to move it.
No, it's cool.
It's cool. My final thoughts is, well, first off, thank you for inviting me to watch this with you.
Thank you for watching it, because I know that you're not a big into horror. So
but this is why it's so important to do this, is because like it starts to make you want to like, okay, like, all right, I'm not scared enough to watch the thing. I'm not scared enough to watch Midsummer or The Shining, and so you start to sort of like start dipping your toes. You're like, okay, I can handle Halloween. And
Let
then
me know when you need a list. I'll open it up.
Oh, easy. All right. Yeah. But no, but like I think then you kind of go into it makes you gonna want to like explore the genre a little bit more. And I think this is a great starter movie. Maybe, I don't know, you guys let me know as like the horror experts. What do you think? Is this a good starter movie? Because to me, it felt like my rating, if I would give it, it'd be like a 4.5 out of 5. And I thought like it was a great sort of introductory introductory into like the horror world, I think.
Well, yes and no. This is the best of the best when it comes to horror. But the great thing about horror and genre as a whole is you're used to watching quality movies and judging it off the quality. And so much stuff about horror is you're supposed to be digging into the dirt. Like, the acting's not good, but that's okay. The writing's not good, but that's okay. Let's get to see this. And that's a really cool thing about diving into horror as a whole. That's not what the thing is. The thing is great acting, great directing, great, so not so much, but if you can handle it scary wise, opposed to genre wise, you can start like, crack out Texas Chainsaw Massacre and start working your way in, that should be your next stop.
All right. That'll be my next stop.
I totally agree, just because the thing, like, there's horror elements, but there's also sci-fi in there, and it allows you, it like we talked about how John Carpenter allows you, he just sets up the shot and allows the audience to kind of like put the pieces together and I feel like that is really, really great, kind of like introductory, where it's not totally like jumping out at you, like no.
And
jump scares.
This is also cleaner, opposed to like like horror gets really greasy and grimy.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
Which is what I like about it.
Exactly, but like that's something you got to kind of build yourself up to. Game of Thrones wasn't built in a day, right? We had to have a few projects before we got there to really be like, okay, this is normalized. You know what I mean?
Right.
But no, thank you, Marley, for having me on. I do appreciate it. And yeah, I'll be back, of course, with you when you invite me back. But I appreciate it.
For sure, I'd love to have you back anytime. And have a good night, Tyrone.
Because
can we go? This is when we get into my theory about why I think R.J. McCready is probably an imitation. This is still there. This is still like it's still fresh, so I'm still working it out.
He literally has the most imitation kills out of the movie.
Well, I see it more as like he's always been an imitation, and like it's like like the imitation that's in the movie. It's like the rival imitation, and he's so I'm thinking like
tinfoil stuff there, Marley.
Yeah, very, very tinfoil. But like the reason why I think that is because, like, from what I've seen from like the movie, like the imitation really just transforms. Like when when the subject is rejecting the imitation. So sometimes. I'm thinking. What, sometimes?
Yeah, I mean, you could only say that happens with Norris.
Okay.
Because Palmer transforms because he's backed into a corner. Blair transforms because he's backed into the corner. Normally it's hide. All right, okay. Right. But Norris, I think he was in the middle of, or like just transformed, and then he starts getting defibrillated, and the monster's like, "What do you get off me?" So, but also the weird half-baked Norris that pops out of Norris makes me think like he's fully assimilated yet, but then it's also his head starts separating. So I don't know.
That's still a new
I'm not
theory.
with you
I'm
on
still like, this is what I got from like the
Start
second
working
watch.
on it. And
Yeah,
start
but
getting some chapters down. Put in
Yeah,
spoiler
for sure.
points. Yeah.
Sorry.
but Jamie Lee, who do you think
Sabotage.
sabotage the
Saboteur.
blood?
I don't know. And this is what I was saying to Taco is like one of my many questions is how did the thing, like, he said that it takes the person's knowledge, but like, how did it know to be so sneaky and to like blame all these things? Because they would have taken the key from Gary, sabotaged the blood, and then put the key back,
So,
you know, with him.
if
So-
you listen to what you heard in that scene, yeah, but they tell you wrong facts in that scene. He says he's only given it to Copper and back, and so somebody had to steal it. Windows drops it when he sees Bennings being assimilated. If you go back and watch that scene, there's not a lot of attention brought to it, but he's jingling keys and they drop, and that explicitly you hear him fall. They never bring up that Windows had him. Gary never goes, I gave him the Windows earlier. He either forgets it or the movie's just messing with us, because somebody could have picked it up there, walked right over Sabotage the Blood, gave him to Gary.
So if that's the case, then who sabotaged McGrady's clothing? Who, like, the clothing was ripped, and that guy came back and he's like, "Oh, it's ripped." So who planted that evidence?
Down to when was Blair assimilated? That's our biggest question, because if he was assimilated early, and I know what you're going to say, so let me finish. But if he's assimilated early, sabotages the radio, sabotages all the stuff, and then sabotages the blood, and then gets locked up, and then runs around, does a bunch of stuff, probably kills Fuchs, because we don't know what the hell happened to Fuchs, and then keeps just getting locked up, that could explain it. But of course, why would the thing that wants to escape be sabotaging the radio and the equipment? So I don't know who's sabotaging the blood, but a lot of the other stuff, like destroying or killing Fuchs, I think is Blair. I think Blair was already assimilated the second time McCready comes back and there's a noose hanging in front of him, which is one of the scary, hey, I want to come back inside, and there's just a noose in the foreground and no one says anything about it. It's terrifying. I think that was all feigned. I think he was already assimilated at that point, but I'm not sure who sabotaged the blood, but I do think it's Blair running around and hiding stuff from McCready, because it's either him or Palmer. And Palmer usually stays upon the group and just says nonsensical stuff and kind of throws them off a couple times. But there's only, let's break it down. There's only three, right? There's Norris, who I don't think does too much. I think he assimilates right before the amazing effect I still want to talk about. And then there's Blair and there's Palmer. So the only guy who we're not constantly watching is Blair. Even when they have a big speech where they're like, we're burning them and talking about it, Blair, they even go, Blair's not here. Like, they say it, and they just leave him in that shed. He can run off him.
I mean, if he went down and built, like, if there was a tunnel under there and he built this freaking spaceship, like, to sabotage some blood is nothing, Yeah. But again, I don't know. Maybe it wanted, like, the fight or flight thing, like, it didn't want to be caught out with the blood. I don't know. But yeah, I don't know.
As we've stated before, like, this entire movie is like is open-ended.
We're turning against each other. No one trusts each other anymore. Just talking about the movie turns us into it.
This Marley guy, how dare he think that it was McGrady?
Right.
So
but I love that I can have like the interpretation as well, because a lot of movies like that have like open and shut case, like open and shut story. You can't have like that, or you'd be.
John Carpenter still won't speak about it.
Speaking, I love that you brought that up, because he was on Stephen Colbert recently, and Stephen Colbert asked him about the ending, and he basically just shut up for like the entire interview.
Yeah, it's weird, huh?
Yeah. He's like, it's open to your interpretation, and I'm like, I think I love that about like John Carpenter the most, because probably one of my favorite movies of all time, Inception, next to this one, Christopher Nolan has gone out and said like what happens at the end of it, like with the top, and
Well, he said it wasn't supposed to be ambiguous. He said I thought it was pretty clear. I'm not
Right.
like I was his like. He's like, oh, I thought you guys got it. You didn't get it. Let me tell you. But yeah. But of course, people still now just say Christopher Nolan's lying.
Right.
I think it keeps the art pure. I
Mhm.
hate the idea that just because you can ask the artist means that you should. I don't think you should. You know, we can't ask Van Gogh what it meant. You know, we can't ask Picasso what it meant. And like, let the art speak for itself. And John Carpenter is 100% correct on letting that happen, especially with something like this. It's beautiful, ambiguous, nihilistic, evil movie.
Jamie Lee, I know your thoughts already, but do you want to just speak on that? So
I do think it's very clever for, you know, the people who create these things not to give the answer, because let's be honest, how old is this movie? And we're still talking about, what's the ending
1982,
like?
yeah.
You know, like it's something that is timeless, as you said about the movie, you know, so as is the theories, as is everybody watching it and still talking about it, like it's still relevant. So yeah, I think if you gave that answer, it would just be that black and white closed
Right.
door.
Exactly.
I completely
and
agree.
people don't like that apparently, but hey.
Right. But
I like it.
before we start wrapping up, we have to talk about like the really brutal.
I have two transformations I need to talk about. Yeah.
Are you talking about the operating table where
the operating table
defibrillator
is my favorite effect of all time.
It's incredible, absolutely incredible.
Do you know how they did it?
No. Can you expand? Can you explain?
This is my crack. Talking about this effect in general is my favorite act next to a certain couple things, but it's up there. So they made that chest bitey thing is 100% workable. If you put your arms in there, it would break them. It is a hydraulic chomping chest, right? So what they did is they found a double amputee stuntman. So the guy had arms to here on both of his arms, and they strapped fake arms on him, and they put him in a copper mask. And if you see when he pulls his arms out, he's looking away because the mask isn't very good. So he's not looking at the camera.
God.
So they flip to an opening, and he shoves the stunt actor shoves his arms in, and it clamps, and he goes Gah! And yanks out his arms. So he leaves the prop arms in there. Holy crap!
Oh my god!
that right there, and that's only like the first 1 second, and the rest is that head separating from itself, which is so unsettling. I love it so much, but the idea of like, how do we make this work? Do you know any double amputees? I think I see where you're going, Rob Boutique. Let's go! Like, that is so insane to like. People would just paint CG over it now, you know, like it would, all right, what can we paint green? But that's just, back then you didn't do that. They went and found somebody who already had his arms missing and then ripped fake arms off. It's so cool.
I hate to say it, but that must be pretty traumatic for the amputee to have his arms ripped off again.
I hope he lost his arms in a fun way. Like, you know, it wasn't like, you know, I did get chomped off by a shark, so thanks. You know, like, I hope it was like, no, this is frostbite. No real.
Well, at least he was getting paid, so that's the most important thing.
Actors, man. I love.
But Jamie Lee, what were you gonna say?
Oh, nothing as detailed as that. That's for sure. That was my favorite effects scene as well, because have you guys ever played Plants vs Zombies?
Yeah, of course.
Yes.
Okay. Well, there's like one of the plants that literally is the chomper. And as soon as I saw that, I was like, oh, that is so cool. It just looked cool, but it was terrifying. And then, yeah, as you said, when the head come off and he's got his tongue hanging out and it's just like,
the spider legs out of the head. Then the weird half-baked one pops out of his stomach.
So with the spiders, it's assimilated. Like, is there lots of spiders around and it's taken over that? Is that why it's?
Because spider legs came out of the dog too. So a lot of people think that weird sprouting the really long, hairy legs was something that the alien must have picked up pre-Antarctica.
Yeah.
Like pre-Earth. Yeah.
Oh,
so
okay.
In the book, it's like, we see his real form in the book, and I'm kind of glad they didn't go with that. But yeah, I don't know why I just said that now, but it's just the idea of it it having a backlog of creatures, and I'm assuming that's where, because Spider Legs comes up multiple times, and the head is the best one. And something I love 100% about all the transformations, but this one and Palmer later, is how it doesn't have to follow our rules. It's like, we need a mouth, we need a mouth, it doesn't, this isn't functional anymore, right? So the heads come up here and eyes come out of here, like the human body don't mean anything to this thing. It's just a shape.
Right.
It's so cool, man.
It's just like the human body is just a husk for it, and it'll just be like it basically just uses
I
like
need
whatever.
40 dog tongues.
I need a tongue, and then it just sprouts from his dick. And it was
Pretty much. Screw it. I
surprised
love it
that
so
Carpenter
much.
didn't go there in so many ways. But
I'm sure. I am kind of
I'm
surprised
sure that there
there's
was
no dick effect. Yeah.
I'm sure that there was like a product that someone did jokingly design, like that Carpenter probably does have in his office somewhere.
Yeah.
It was just a
This
giant
was when the
dick thing
dog
monster.
head came out of Palmer's dick. We didn't go with that. So that's that effect. The editing of and I'll skip over a couple more things. There's so much of like Clark getting shot. So the shots.
So sad for him when they went into the blood sabotaging thing. I don't know who said it, but somebody's like, "Where is Clark?" And he's like, "I'm right here." Like they're all blaming this poor guy.
And then
Claire said, "Watch that Clark guy."
Yeah, where's Clark again?
I didn't do it.
Guys,
Clark
I didn't
is
do anything with that dog. That's how we keep. That's how we're.
Clark is basically the Alan of this universe. So
Yeah.
just bring it back to Barbie.
Do you guys start there's this great thing where it rack focuses to the scalpel in Clark's hand, and it reminds us that he has it like 3 times. He grabs it, and then there's a scene where like Childs and McCready are arguing, and then in the corner is a close-up of a hand holding the scalpel, and it's like hiding it. And it does it twice. And right before Clark charges him, and McCready proves that he's the fastest shot in Antarctica, boom, and takes him out. But there's so much good, like, talk about trust breaking down. Like, there's that scene. There's like, let's not let McCready in. And then one of them, then Windows goes, Childs, what if we're wrong about him? And Childs goes, then we're wrong. Whoa. Then we murdered a guy. Whatever.
I don't know how you feel about Childs, Jamie Lee, but I just love that he's just the audience surrogate, where it's just like he's basically the audience is just like, well, it's fucked up. It's a fucked up situation right here, and Childs is just kind of mimicking like our reactions. Like that's what I got from it. Jamie Lee, or Taco, what you think about like Childs? He's one of my favorite characters.
Taco loves him too.
Keith David's amazing. He's one of my favorite actors of all time. I mean, he's Reverse Giraffe from Rick and Morty, and also the President Rick and Morty. But they live. He's a John Carpenter staple for an absolute reason. He's so good. But I do feel like I'm talking too much. So Jamie Lee does want to say something about either the things we just talked about or getting into the blood test scene.
I want to kind of, I don't know if you want to skip towards the end, but the blood test scene was my favorite scene. I did say that before. It was the one where I was most paranoid and the one where I guess appreciated all the actors, because like every single one of them, I was like, fuck, it could have been you. Look at you. You're suspicious. And every single one of them I went through.
It isn't Gary? What?
Yes. What do you mean Gary didn't? Yeah. I don't know. And I think I said that in my reaction, actually. I was like, it's definitely Gary. But
yeah. Well, we can skip over that transformation. It's good, but it doesn't hold a candle, I don't think, to the Norris one, but it's still great. It looks a little silly when he's like got the body flailing over the other body. It does look a little goofy. But the editing of that scene, I'm such a nerd, is so great. So after Palmer eats Windows, it's I can't believe I know all their names. Knowles, Childs, and Gary, and it's
because you've seen it so many times.
Such a nerd. But they do this weird thing where he tests the blood, and it jump cuts to the guy already cut out with him. So he tests Nulls, and then it flips to two of them on the couch, and Nulls with a flamethrower behind him with no like transition. And it's so goofy, and it's almost off-putting. If you pay attention, you're like, huh? And it does it like 4 times in this scene. The editing is so awesome. And then the next one, it does Childs, and Childs is like, get me out of here, get me out, cut me loose, damn it. And then it just flips to Gary by himself, like a jump cut to Gary, like, could I get on phone?
Yeah.
And then they test Gary, and then he has that great line, I know you guys been through a lot, but when you find time, I don't want to spend no winter trying because he's finally like, told you I'm a human.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that was great.
All right, we can talk about the edit. We made it through all the mandatory speak-abouts.
Yeah. So let's get to the ambiguous ending where the film ends on just a super ambiguous note, leaving the fate of the surviving characters uncertain. McCready and Childs sit in the cold, contemplating their situation as the research station burns behind them, hinting at the possibility that the thing might still be alive. So the question is like, is the thing still alive?
I think
like,
Childs is the thing.
I think Childs is the thing too, but this is my question, and overthinking maybe sure, but that's where I go. So if Childs is the thing, is the thing functioning on human abilities now or on their own cells? So if Childs is
yes and no.
So if somebody comes in like 20 years time, if he's sitting there, can he survive for 20 years?
It won't die.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
But it still feels cold. It's still, it's still debilitated by the cold because it can go to sleep. Yeah, you're right. But think of it like a cold-blooded. He's gonna survive, but he'll go into like a hibernation status, and that's what he did for 10,000 years. Woke up, probably not feeling good.
Do you think that maybe they should have thought, like, if they're researchers and they went to the Norwegian, like, or maybe it wasn't the Norwegian base, but wherever they, dug up the thing from out of the ice, wouldn't they think like, oh, it was trapped in ice for this long, maybe we should freeze it? Like when maybe they didn't know about the dog.
They don't ever have the chance because they never know who the thing is.
I just but like, couldn't they have frozen it so that they can research it?
And that's why the thing wants that. Because the thing because he knows that all humans will freeze to death. So that's why the thing destroys the power generator on its own. It probably uses some of the parts to build Norris or Blair's little mini Millennium Falcon, the mini Falcon, if you will. But yeah, there's just so much there. But yeah, I think you're right. But they don't want to freeze it to stop it. The humans want to burn it to kill it. And it wants to freeze to go to sleep.
Yeah, but what I was thinking is like, why couldn't they freeze it until somebody comes and saves them, and then they can research on it further, and like there's a happy ending rather than every just die and nothing be.
Because I just don't think they had that ability.
They didn't, and I understand that now. But
they were playing from behind. The whole movie, they are from behind. The humans are losing.
And another thing too with that ending is, doesn't Child say something about the weather as well? Doesn't he say like, oh, it's pretty hot in here, but it's not going to be for very long? Like, meaning that it's going to be cold again,
and that's when they say, "Cool, let's heat this place up." Yeah, but
no. I'm talking about the very, very end when it's just the two of them, and Childs comes back and he says, "Oh, it's pretty hot in here. It's not going to stay that way for very long." Like that to me was him saying, "I'm the thing. I want the cold. You're going to freeze, but I like."
It could be, "Hey, we're both about to die." Also, like, maybe because they never say we're about to die, and they are. Like
pretty much the whole time, we're not going to survive this thing. We're not going to live through this thing. Like the whole time he was saying we're not going to make it.
No, I mean,
what about the possibility of there being two things?
Well, then they would just make out or whatever.
Like
procreate.
Like then they would be like, "Hey, we won!" And then they high five and they look at the audience and get the deuces and walk away. So there's the cheating bitch theory. McCready's holding a thing of booze. Doesn't say anything, doesn't drink it, and then he has a talk with Childs, and then he gives Childs the booze, and then Childs takes a drink, and he goes, he giggles. So
And
there's
pours
a
it.
whole fan
Pours it
theory
around.
about how the booze is like gasoline or something that humans know not to drink. He would have smelled it if Childs was a human. So he tricks the alien, and the alien drinks it, and he goes, ha ha ha. And it's an homage to when he pours the brandy, because it's brandy, to the chest.
yeah.
Yeah, so that is a
I-
fan theory, which I like. I
Yeah,
don't know
that's
if
a good
it's 100% true, but don't you think Childs' thing might know what he can and can't eat? You know, like they are supposed to have the intelligence to know, oh, that's not brandy. What are you doing here? Or whiskey or whatever it is, scotch. But yeah, that's one fan theory I wanted to mention.
Wouldn't he have also been suspicious in that though, because they were told like to make their own food and make their own drink, like they can't share food with other people. So if he shared the drink, like wouldn't he be like, no, I don't want that because you could be the thing?
Maybe that's another why he laughs. Like, oh well, you took it. Yeah, yep.
Right.
Maybe that's another reason why McCready laughs when he gives Childs the drink.
Like we're all doomed.
And yeah, like I think I stated earlier, the fact that Childs isn't in the big fight at the end is another reason why I think that he's a thing. Like he's like, all right, have fun with that Blair monster. See it. And also, Knowles just wanders off, and we have no clue what happens to him. We don't see a body. We don't see anything. He's just down there with them as they're setting up to blow everything up, and Knowles just like kind of turns a corner and he's out of the movie.
He also said just peace out. He's just like, see ya. Yeah,
Get my dynamite and I'm going. Bye.
And I do want to, just because it's my favorite line of all time, but when he's fighting the giant thing monster at the end and he runs and does a unnecessary somersault, and then the thing roars at him and he just goes, yeah, fuck you too, and throws the dynamite. I love McCready.
It's awesome. It's awesome.
So
I'll still work on my theory about McCready being
work on
the
it.
invitation, but
you're gonna need some.
It just seems like if the thing is if the invitation is the one that's like rejecting like all the hosts, it's like all those hosts suck, and then it gets to McCready and it's just like, oh, I like this. It's just like
I think this is just subconsciously you having a major crush. So do I on Kurt Russell.
How can you
and
not?
It's making he's so hot. He's so attractive in this.
But yeah.
Yeah, I feel like we did.
We basically covered everything, and that was The Thing from 1982. Let's do
box office fail. By the way, this movie did awful. It was panned by critics. It did absolutely awful, and it was slowly built its way up as a cult classic.
Right.
So yeah,
let's just go around the table real quick and just give like our final thoughts on like The Thing. Jamie Lee, let's start with you.
I loved it. I watched 2 movies for my horror Halloween thing. The Shining, which everybody talked up a lot, and honestly, I liked this one more. So I'm very shocked to hear that this didn't do very good. I was scared from this. Like legitimately, I jumped a few times.
I remember. Yeah, you're like, well, I'm not gonna sleep well, and I'm like,
yeah, because all of those transformations to me, like although they were disgusting, and to be fair, most of the time I was like, ew, like this on the screen, but that was great to look at, but also terrifying. Like it was scary to me. I don't like alien stuff, and I don't
body
like
horror.
Yeah,
if you don't subscribe to body horror, if you're not ready for it, it can really get to you.
And the paranoia got to me. Like as I said, I was constantly second guessing everybody and where they'd been. And I did say this in my reaction, but not anytime soon because I'm a little bit like traumatized still. But eventually I want to watch this again to do exactly what the both of you have already done, like pinpoint who was where, pinpoint who was, assimilated first, and have sort of like a timeline of who was where, when, or who did what when. Because I mean, it's not going to make anything any clearer, to be honest, because there's no ending. The Thing lives, let's be honest. But yeah, I don't know, just to clear my head a little bit, I would like to rewatch it one day to pinpoint all those things. But overall, I liked it. I just hate that when I get to the end like that, it feels to me, it's nothing like this, but it feels to me like Buried, like you just get to the end, that's it. Okay, what did I just watch? Like there's nothing, no answers, and I don't like having no answers. I like knowing things.
I mean, it's literally
Sorry,
watching.
That's not a good answer.
It's literally watching the thing win. Like we hope for these people, but we just watched it show up. Everybody dies. The whole thing blew up. What for the Canadian Institute to come check it out, and then they go check out the
And then
Norwegian.
that happened to them. Yep.
Yeah,
It's like
like,
a cycle of
It's definitely not.
It's a cycle of life.
Yeah, it's a cycle of life.
The circle of death. Yeah. Sorry.
The circle of humans, how we all sabotage each other and just treat each other like shit.
Yeah.
And how quick were they to turn on each other?
I love it so much. Like Palmer yelling at Windows is this thing where he just stops for a second. It's like, all right, you go with Windows. I go with Windows. Like, what? He's like, I go with you. Just like his weird performance. It's so good. That guy gives the goofiest performances, Palmer. He reminds me of all my really high relatives. But yeah, and there's still so much that we can cover, but that's not what this is. We're not doing like the deep dive into all the different fan theories. But I will state, right, if you guys watch this and you've never watched a thing before, there's rabbit holes. Go find out why Palmer had headphones in that weren't hooked to anything, because that's also a thing. He's walking around with headphones dangling and during like important scenes, and that's another like, oh, that's an alien there. Humans,
wow.
Don't you love this music? Yeah,
that's why I'd like to go into like the timeline of things and rewatch
stuff
it,
like that.
Stuff like that. Yeah.
So
for that reason alone, like I love this movie. This has become a staple every single Halloween. At the end of Halloween, to just rewatch this and just find new things like every single time. And this is what I love about film, like in general. The whole reason why I started this podcast, just because, like, yeah, you get like pretty like open and closed doors, like a Marvel movie or something like that. But you got movies like this that we can talk about for years and years after it released. And
fun. That's what
I feel like I've seen this movie twice, like basically all in streaming. I feel like my next goal is to see this presented in 35 millimeter, because I had an opportunity to see it this year, and situation. Don't be ashamed, Jamie Lee. But I had an opportunity to see it this year, but I had to pass it up. But that's my goal next year.
Friend and I love you. Thank
you
again.
Yeah, my absolute closing thoughts is this is my favorite horror movie of all time. If you want to look at it as a horror movie, it's a 10 out of 10. As a genre film, definitely parts of it are 10 out of 10. As a full-on movie, it's like a 9 out of 10 for me. Not quite higher than that. I want to give it 9.5, but I do have my flaws with a lot of it. Not a lot of it, but there's just like here and there where I feel like the pacing's a little goofy. I feel like certain effects, as much as I love them, there's like something where I'm like, that just looks funny. But I think it is a masterpiece as horror. I really do. And if you have made it this far, and especially if you're somebody who considers himself a movie fan and you've never watched it, like, correct it. Correct that.
Yes, for sure, correct that. But yeah, as I said, that was The Thing, directed by John Carpenter. Let's just close this episode by Jamie Lee. Where can people find you online?
Do you want me to say it for you again this time?
That was really sweet of you too. I really appreciated that. And I was so impressed that you actually knew what was on my channel. I was like,
I know
he is a good friend.
I'm subscribed.
Yes, he is.
Even your gaming channel.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, he's subscribed and you should too. So head on over to In the Front Row YT. You can check me out doing TV show and movie, mostly TV show, to be honest. Reactions, reviews, and sometimes interviews with the people that are in the movies and TV shows that I like to watch. So that's what you can find over on my channel. And then I've got a gaming channel, as Taco said as well, where I just pretty much play video games with this guy here. And it's a lot of fun. So yeah, check me out.
Taco, where can people find you online?
Well, I don't actually talk about movies or TV at my own channel. So if you want to see me talk about TV, I'll be on Jamie Lee's channel sometimes
also
doing that.
Come to my channel.
Also go to Jamie Lee's. If you are a Song of Ice and Fire fan or a Game of Thrones fan, I actually have my channel is completely devoted to that amazing series where I do breakdowns of characters from the books and other fun things. I'm really excited for Halloween. I have like 2 vids I'm ready for Halloween to drop. Top 10 scariest places in the world of A Song of Ice and Fire is one of them, spookiest. But yeah, anyway, so if that doesn't strike your fancy, well, never mind, man. But I'm on Twitter, Mark Taco Face, and yeah, that's where my social media is. And then something to talk about is not Twitter, it's called X now. But anyways,
It's Twitter.
Yeah, something to talk about is the name of my channel. So if you're interested in some Song of Ice and Fire goodness, you can find me there.
Yeah. I definitely need to get into more Game of Thrones. People have been pushing me for years, and I just haven't.
Read the books. Read
yeah.
the books.
But yeah, all the links will be in the description box down below for Taco's channel and social media. You can follow me pretty much everywhere on social media: Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and then YouTube with the username Marley Loves Film. And then you can listen to this podcast or watch this podcast anywhere where you listen to podcasts, and give us a rate and review as well. And yeah, for the Real Lovers podcast, my name is Marley Silverbrand.
And I'm Jamie Lee from In the Front Row.
And I am Taco from Something to Talk About.
And keep watching movies. We'll see you later.